Should we adjust that framing? Is that good right there? Good enough?
I want to make sure we're recording. All right. I think we're streaming.
All right.
All right. Welcome to the Roasted Chestnuts. You know, I was thinking it would be fun if you walked into the screen because it's your big return.
Yeah,
Welcome
I know. It's
back
been
to
2
Indy.
weeks.
Yes, Indy. Out of the last 4 weeks, you've only been on once.
So how's my lighting? My super
You're a little
dark on this
shadowy.
side?
See if I can hook you up here. Oh, it's more like that.
Yes. There we go.
Oh, that's not great for me. Here. Hold on. All right, do this how we had it before. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I guess I'm a little dark. We'll figure out my lighting next week.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Roasted Chestnuts. Indy and I are back for the first time in a while. Kiddo.
Yeah.
He's
2 weeks.
He's been quarantining, waiting for his test results, which I have to say was bad news here. It was good news.
It was good news.
He got a negative on his COVID test, but it took 7 literal days.
Took a full week.
At which time we were already past the kind of quarantine, the days, days since his potential exposure.
So I was already out by the time I got my test results.
Yes. Pretty
so
lame.
It was useless.
Pretty lame.
Pretty lame. And I've gotten tests from them before, and it was a lot quicker. It was like 2 days or 3 days.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the deal was.
So as we continue down the journey of figuring
Did you
out
get your espresso?
some of the technical stuff on Roasted Chestnuts, we moved the cameras around a little bit and changed the sides, and that's kind of thrown off our lighting a little bit. But we're getting there.
We're figuring it
Getting all
out.
figured out. Today we're going to talk about Stalag 17, which we watched a couple nights ago, which was which is a Billy Wilder movie from 53.
53?
I didn't get to read too much about it, but I briefly read that it was based on a play.
Oh.
Based on a play written by maybe 2 people that were in Stalag 17 in Germany or wherever that is.
Oh, okay.
I assume that
Interesting.
was in Germany.
Yeah.
Yes, fascinating movie. All right, should we get the chess pieces out?
It looked like Southern California to me. But.
Well, yeah. What else do we want to talk about real quick?
Well, we got. I think we're going to talk about Stalag 17 first, but we've got WandaVision spoilers to talk after that.
Yes.
So we won't be talking about WandaVision at all during our first game, I guess. But
right. But we'll put up a big spoiler screen.
Full spoilers for WandaVision.
And okay. This thing.
Oh, I think it was good. I think it was.
Well, I think it was down a little bit. Yeah, I fucked it up.
I think it's.
Okay.
We leave well enough alone. For
All right. Well enough is left alone.
Yeah.
What else? The scores. That was the last thing.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Up till now, we have the scores have me up 1.
You're up 1.
Fordley's up 1.
So you basically, is it still February? Okay. So the month of February could still be a draw.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends on what happens today.
If I win 2 games and you win 1, it'll be a draw.
Right. Yeah, this is our last game for February. The last 2 months, as you can see on there, I know it's a little fuzzy. I'm trying to figure out how to clarify some of these graphics.
I think it's clear enough.
But the green is Indy, and the pink is Fordley, and the yellow is a draw. The last time we played, we had 2 draws, which is
lame.
Just unprecedented. I find it interesting, just on a statistical level or whatever.
Yeah.
That happens. But hey, should we check the stream on your phone real quick?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got no slow frames.
No.
We got no drop frames. We got a lot of green lights.
I think we need to start getting comfortable with trusting the information up there.
All right, I'm into that. I don't know if I'm into that.
No?
I gotta check it.
All right.
If it's stuttering and insane. All right, but let's start picking sides.
All right.
I meant to have this on deck ahead of time so that I wasn't. Anyway, it's fascinating how the iPhone knows what I'm usually doing on a Saturday morning. It instantly offers me black. All right, hold on now. You can start throwing those out there. I'm going to. Check this. Oh, here we go. Sounds great. Sounds flippin' great. I am very excited to be back here with Indy. As you guys who've been following along know, I played Chester, the chess computer, a few times when Indy was out of town. That was kind of crazy and weird. I mean, weird in the sense that it was challenging to understand what it was trying to do, and it wouldn't let me do a few moves that I was trying to do. When I tried to castle the Well, it happens in computer chess too. When you castle, you got to castle king first. If you castle rook first,
Yeah.
the computer thinks you're just moving your rook.
Yeah.
I was really hoping for like a cool chess computer that could kind of be like, here's that famous game where Kasparov played so and so back in '48 or not '48. I don't think Kasparov was around '48, but I don't know if that exists. Also,
well, see, I was thinking about that because you mentioned that, but it wouldn't quite make sense because you would also have to do the exact moves.
That's true. But maybe you would, and then maybe on the fourth movie you try something different.
Yeah.
Because I know people like who are really into it play famous games. Like you and I might sit down to play like a famous game out. Just play it out and see how it went.
It's like a common thing with people who are just into anything. It's like role playing or something.
I guess you're right. And sometimes like a writer will.
Yeah, just sit down and write their favorite movie or something.
Just type it out.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Check out these transitions, everybody. Boom. Talking about the 1953 film Stalag 17. What? With a little picture of Stalag 17 down there.
It's pretty good.
In case you haven't been playing along.
All right, who do we got there? Those two? All right. Good.
Who?
Good. Which characters I was just saying.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we got a couple viewers.
Oh, we do?
Oh, one of them was me because I checked in. Let's just say hi to them.
Hi.
Hi, viewers.
They can hear us.
Yes. But I'm trying my chat window interface that I put up here.
Whoa.
Yeah. Because what I noticed was on the YouTube, you don't get to see the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't like the chat window?
I can take it or leave it.
Oh, wow.
It's part of the live experience, but...
Wow.
Yeah, do you want to...
Stalag 17 is a movie with chess, and it comes up on chess movie
lists. great chess usage in the movie.
Not a lot of chess playing.
No, I don't think there was
Maybe
there was some chess playing in the background.
Yeah.
There'd be a couple of dudes playing chess, but
yeah.
during the scenes where everyone was chilling.
Yeah.
Sometimes a movie or something will make you think. That made me think that being in a German POW camp, it didn't seem that bad.
Well, that's one of the interesting things about some of the early scenes. In the early scenes, a couple dudes try to escape and get shot down by machine guns. And William Holden's character is like, why are you guys even goofing around with that stuff? Which is what the audience is kind of asking.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, obviously it sucks to be caught by the Germans.
Obviously, you'd rather be back home.
But they, at least as depicted in this movie, and I think we should talk a little bit about the varied tones that are mixed together in this movie, which is very interesting. But
yeah, it seemed like following the Geneva Convention was for some reason something they took very seriously in the German POW camps, which doesn't quite.
I mean, this is an officer camp, they say at the beginning. So it's not even like an enlisted person's camp. It's like an airman's camp. So it's for specifically high-end prisoners.
Was it, though? Like, what's his name and the other guy an officer?
Animal?
Yeah.
And his little sidekick?
Yeah.
Animal's a fascinating character. The movie, he's almost like the main character in a way. He has like the most.
We'll get into that. He has the most screen time. I have a lot of thoughts on.
Oh yeah.
On that.
I'm very interested on your take on Animal. I mean, I feel like in the day, somebody like Neil, who's an old friend of ours who passed away a few years ago, but was in his 90s and served in World War II. Like that's the kind of comedy he would love. Like he would have thought that guy was hilarious. He probably did see that movie multiple times.
See, okay.
Let's describe Animal.
Animal. Well, he's not like Animal from the Muppets. He's not like Animal from the Muppets. Yeah. He's shaggy. He talks kind of like him.
He's wild.
He's wild.
Completely unpredictable.
He doesn't play the drums.
No,
that we know of. I was thinking about a lot about Jojo Rabbit, and it would be kind of like if you had Rebel Wilson's character from Jojo Rabbit have the most screen time. And her character played her role in that movie the way she needed to, but she was far from the best part, and I thought that guy was far from the best part of this movie.
Right.
Far, far from it.
He could have been a 2 to 3 times comic relief guy. Instead, like massive, like 3 scenes in a row, just based on what he was getting up to.
Yeah. And it was almost like Three Stooges-esque.
Oh yeah.
Type of comedy. It wasn't even like written, like clever stuff that kind of fit with the vibe of the other characters.
No, it was
you know,
a lot of physical comedy, falling in the mud.
Yeah.
You know, painting a big white line across like basically a German guy's foot. It wasn't quite like that, but right past the guard shack. Just wacky.
It reminded me of like a Looney Tunes cartoon when Bugs Bunny would get caught pretending to dust something, and then he'd dust the guard's face or something. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it was interesting, but just a strange balance.
Yeah.
For the movie, which was really had a strange balance overall.
Well, to me, it was 2 hours long, and that's not just my opinion; that's a fact. To me, it could have been 90 minutes, and you just cut out most of that stuff.
Not most, but a chunk of it.
Most, 80% of it.
Wow, I'm talking 30% of it.
Not 80% of the comedy, but 80% of the scenes.
Of animals specifically talking. Because even when that guy who would come and do the news, and his thing, there was a character who would come in and he'd announce the news to everybody.
He was like a carnival barker, and he had that kind of 1940s kind of yelling newscaster voice.
Everybody gather around. And, in the barracks today on the radio is they're going to come around and tell us about a thing. And it was all the announcements.
Yeah.
And then after each announcement, he'd go, Addies, Addies. Because everybody would kind of start rumbling after each announcement. The announcement would be like, this year at Christmas, there are going to be no wreaths. And everybody would be like, no Addies, Addies. But then did you notice Animal would go, Addies. After every time he would say it then? It was just so many bizarre little details in this movie.
That goes with what I was going to say next, which is that his character reminded me of like that guy in your 5th grade class who was like the class clown and was like who was so funny to all the kids in 5th grade, but by the time he got to middle school, nobody thought he was funny anymore.
Oh, that's true. I bet you Animal was that exact person.
Yeah.
And he had a rough middle school and high school.
Sure.
But he found his place of acceptance in the Army. Well, I guess in the Air Corps. He didn't seem much like an airman himself.
No.
I
would not put that guy in a cockpit.
I think some of those guys might have been like a machine gunner in the tail, or like the bomb.
Or just, exactly.
I opened the hatch,
All right, maybe.
A lot of that shit.
I could see him being one of those guys on the plane in Doctor Strangelove.
Right.
Yeah,
totally.
Not the guy flying the plane, but
Yeah.
We're doing
those
math.
other guys that were like in charge of the place. Those were the pilots.
Right.
And William Holden, who was kind of the main character, I read that he was...
He was that guy?
Yeah,
that guy?
William Holden's on the left there on the screen. And he was like kind of the main character. Really, really. I mean, he
was the protagonist for lack of a protagonist.
Yeah, he was spread around, I guess. And throughout a lot of the movie, I guess he's supposed to sort of be the bad guy, but you can kind of tell he's not a bad guy, kind of from the beginning.
It's too... I mean, they kind of say everyone thinks he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
And then you kind of know he's not a bad guy based on them thinking that, before the 30-minute mark.
Even the stuff he's up to, you're like, he's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's like pointing out the obvious hypocrisies and stuff, and just like the stupidness, and he's trying to stay comfortable while he's there.
He seems like he's almost too smart to be there, or like too. Yeah, he's too much smarter than these other guys, and they don't really know that. But he's just his mind isn't on the level that they're on.
No,
he's just above it.
Yeah, they're trying stuff. They're digging tunnels and figuring out how to clip the barbed wire and stuff. And he's just like, why?
He's making bets against everyone. Every time someone escapes, he bets against them escaping, and he's always right.
Yeah.
And that's another reason they think he's a bad guy. Yeah. It's one of those lines where he's like, you put 2 and 2 together, and it came out 4, but the only thing is it wasn't 4.
I love that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That just is like, what?
And that's what they're doing. They're jumping to conclusions.
Yeah.
Based on, they're eager to, because somebody is getting their friends killed, somebody is getting everyone caught every time, and that's like the main thrust of the story.
Everything they're up to, the Germans
is that it's centered around this one barracks in this POW camp with these guys, and they're always up to stuff. They're smuggling in radios, and they're trying to escape, and then there's one guy, or they assume there's one guy reporting on them to the Germans because they
just kind of figure
it out. Germans are always one
step
ahead of them. Yeah.
They're just like, what? Well, it has to be a snitch, or whatever. And they just kind of figure it out and start basically naming people, and they land on William Holden because
he's like running the hooch shop, and
he trades with the Germans a little bit. Here's a case of cigarettes and some eggs, or whatever. And so they're like, it's got to be him, which is so ridiculously. So if you're those
paranoid,
guys, it's not him.
No.
But they beat the shit out of him at one point.
Yeah.
In that, did you ever see Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. We watched that together, didn't we? Yeah, in that Full Metal Jacket style, they beat the shit out of him. They strap him down to the bed and pound him, which is what they do to Private Pilot.
Yeah, but I mean it's less brutal.
It's less brutal as Dog 17.
Yeah, which is still, but okay. Well, I guess we should start playing a little chess.
Yeah, let's play, baby.
So, what ends up happening is Peter Graves, who if you're my age, you'd probably know from Airplane, or maybe the original Mission Impossible.
He's got a long list
and then
of credits.
the reboot of Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
But I don't think, if you're my age, you've seen either anything Mission Impossible that doesn't have Tom Cruise in it.
IMDb, Peter Graves, and you will see a long list of, not sitcoms, but TV shows. Oh, why? Why did I just do that? Wow. All right, no more talking about Peter Graves.
You can take it back if you want.
No, fuck it.
All right.
It was an
honest mistake. Anyway, Peter Graves, the guy on the right there.
No, is that Peter Graves?
Yeah, right?
Okay.
He's the guy.
He's the guy? He's the fucking... I mean, spoiler alert, we're about to spoil the shit out of Stalag 17.
All right, let's look this up before we confuse our viewers even more.
1953. I didn't realize that guy was Peter Graves. I'm looking at it and I'm trying to see it. I'm seeing it.
I'm seeing
the profile.
Yeah, I think it's him.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's definitely him. He's got that face. He's got, nowadays, well, he's dead now, but if you're my age, you'd know him for having the face of an oak tree.
He's one of the pilots in Airplane.
Yeah. He's one of the pilots in Airplane. That's all you'd know him from if you're my age. But anyway, so he's like, you called him Johnny America at one point, and he looks like Johnny America. You know, he's tall, handsome, blonde guy in the bomber jacket, and he turns out to be the stoolie they keep saying, the spy.
Yeah.
And it was a little weak for me. I thought, like, if I was writing this movie, I would have built up like him and the Kurt Russell character, the guy that looked like Kurt Russell, Wolverine guy, and and this guy. I would have built them up as the three main or three main characters.
Yeah.
And like have them be characters, like protagonists with goals and dreams and personality traits.
There wasn't a lot of that.
And then when you find out it was this guy, other than just looking at him and thinking he looks like Johnny America, it would be an actual twist. You'd be a little bit more surprised that it was this guy.
I mean, in the twist department, they tried to build him up like he was like the head of security, which is kind of within the barracks. They all kind of have different roles, and he was the head of security in that role, so he was really trusted, and they would kind of come at him and be like, how'd these guys get shot down?
Yeah.
Even the security guy. But he was never really, except for maybe being not good at his job, in question as a suspect. Until fucking William Holden had to do all the work himself.
Yeah.
All the detective work.
Well, basically everyone, he probably assumed he was close to getting his ass beat with a sock full of quarters or something. So, yeah, he was like, he's got to find out. Well, at one point he like desperately tries to bribe one of the guards to tell him who the stoolie is.
Yes.
Because he's just like, he's over it. He's over all these guys, coming after him. And then he sticks around at one point, and it turns out
everybody clears out of the barracks, and he stays back.
Yeah,
which happens a bunch of times in the movie.
Yeah,
but for some reason this time there's 5 guys standing over there that didn't clear out. All the secret shit happens, and you think somebody's got to still be left in the barracks, but no.
Yeah.
But this one time when he's trying to do the right thing and basically saying, "Take all my stuff, take the cigarettes, take all my goods, just tell me who the stool pigeon is." He's trying to solve it.
Yeah.
But all those guys are... I'm sorry, I took over for you. Telling this part. All those guys are observing him having this intimate interaction with the guard, and that confirms for them that he's...
Well, like, they walk in at the worst possible moment. Mm-hmm. Like, he's like, tell me who it is, I'm desperate, and then he's like, he keeps piling on more cigarettes and whatever else he's got to try to bribe him, and then when all the guys come back in, he's got, like, handful of stuff he's trying to give to the guard.
Right. Yeah. Is it me?
Removed
this bishop. All right, let's
this bishop. You can't do that.
No.
No, because that's your queen.
Oh Jesus! I'm so for some reason I do get really thrown off. It's not good, but when I switch over to black, I'm often confused. Don't laugh at that.
Don't laugh at you being uncomfortable saying the word black.
Am I uncomfortable?
When I switch over to
black. I'm comfortable. Nice move.
Thank you. Anyway, it's one of those movies like The Thing or Reservoir Dogs where it's, one of the guys is the Thing and nobody knows who it is and they're all turning on each other. Yeah. But it wasn't done as well. And it didn't seem like it was quite trying to be that intense. Like, It wasn't trying to be a thriller or like... The point of the movie wasn't to try to get you to... It wasn't like The Thing where the whole point is like, who is it? What are they doing? That was like... It wasn't the B story, but it was like the plot was light. It was just light on plot.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to Billy Wilder. Let's talk about that just for a second.
Okay.
I mean, Billy Wilder is known for like Some Like It Hot, and The Apartment, and I'm probably getting some of these wrong. Ace in the Hole. This Spirit of St. Louis, with Jimmy Stewart as Lindbergh. A lot of like really America movies.
Mm-hmm.
He might be It's a Wonderful Life. No, he's not. That's Frank Capra. But like, he's into like it's not a wholesome thing. It's a mixed vibe thing. Like Some Like It Hot. There's intensity. There's real camp. And that's how Stalag 17 was. I mean, people are getting gunned down by Nazis.
Right.
They're making them read Mein Kampf.
Yeah.
Things like that. Real intense shit.
But it's funny when the way they present it, because it's that like Carnival Barker news guy, and he's like, we've got a Christmas gift here from the Germans. Everybody gets their own copy of Mein Kampf or something.
Addies!
Oh, and his little friend, to our one viewer, who might be us or Maggie,
Hi, viewer.
That news guy had a little friend who would come with him, and it was like a security guy almost to just keep everyone quelled. Anyway, that guy was Leonard from Community.
Oh, yeah.
Who, if you're a fan of Community, you know Leonard. He's the super old guy, but in this movie he was a pretty young guy.
Yeah. Soldier age.
Yeah.
One leg? No, that was a different guy.
No, that was a different guy.
Okay.
I forgot about the one leg guy.
Yeah, he kept showing up with like various.
They would use his lack of a leg to smuggle stuff in.
Yeah. Not at all obvious to the Germans.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the larger thing in the movie was just brains and being the smartest guy. Like, what's his name was just the smartest guy there. He was smarter than the Germans and all of his friends, and they were hot-headed and just... I don't know. Is the message to just keep your head?
Right. If you're familiar with MASH, he was kind of like, who's the bald guy, in MASH, or those other guys who filled that role when seasons he wasn't there.
I feel like everyone in MASH was smart, though, right?
They were smart, but I'm saying there were guys that people didn't like. But they weren't really up to no good.
Right.
At times, maybe people thought they were actually up to no good. And when shit went negative, then they pointed to him. That was kind of where the William Holden was. Nobody really liked him, but he wasn't. He was like on a smart path of his own. There was a lot of is it me again?
Yeah.
There was a lot of similar stuff in one of my favorite movies ever, Empire of the Sun, which takes place in a lot of World War II camps, a lot of like officer camps, and I think there were definitely some direct lifts from Stalag 17 that Steven Spielberg used in Empire of the Sun. Great movie, everybody should check out. And I think there might be chess in that movie. Holy shit. We might get to watch Empire of the Sun. In fact, should we call that next week's movie?
Sure.
All right, next week, Empire of the Sun. Finally! I've been wanting to watch that with Indy for years. And it doesn't fully hold up. You know, I loved that movie in the late '80s, but like that was a big rental for me. But you know, it's ish. But great John Malkovich movie. Christian Bale's first movie. Introducing Christian Bale as Jim, etc. And okay. But briefly, let's just talk about the mixed tones a little bit more, because that is something Billy Wilder is an expert at. Here it is, the humor, and almost like there's like almost not quite sexiness, but they're like Russian lady soldiers in the other camp across the way, and they're obsessed with like watching them through the window as they're going into the delousing chamber.
Yeah. I mean, look, what else are you gonna do? I didn't think the tone was perfectly balanced.
Okay.
I thought it got too... It almost felt like some of those comedy scenes with Animal from the Muppets was... I know this isn't what happened, but it felt almost like they were spliced in from another project or something.
I see what you're saying.
Like, it was just like, well, there's this plot that's kind of intense. There are these POWs, and they're all trying to gang up on this one guy, and they don't know who's who. And here's 15 minutes of these wacky characters trying to see some naked ladies.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that was like what it was as far as notes, or they're trying to achieve a certain, less heaviness, and they did it through emphasizing this comedy. Maybe at times they're looking at it and they're being like, all right, we need to up the light stuff, so let's bring in more Animal. I can't imagine how.
I mean, that's why my closest modern comparison was Jojo Rabbit, because it. Oh, excuse me.
Excuse me.
That movie balances its tone perfectly, I think.
Oh yes.
And it almost uses the comedy to intensify the intensity.
Yes.
And it doesn't feel like it's like comedies. It doesn't feel like it's like the movie's happening and then a comedy scene over here, and then and now the movie's going to keep happening.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that is definitely the vibe in the movie we just saw.
Yeah.
17. There's some intense stuff, beatdowns and fear of. There's dead bodies in the mud. There's, there's intense shit like that, and something you might not be too familiar with though is Hogan's Heroes.
I'm somewhat
okay,
but isn't that like a sitcom about a bunch of Nazis that are?
It's the exact same premise.
But isn't it like the Nazis?
And the show's character is exactly like the officer who was like their guy. It's the same tone.
But you can't have the Nazis be the likable leads. That's the difference, I think.
Right. I don't think the Nazis are likable leads in Hogan's Heroes.
Aren't they the main characters?
I mean, Hogan and those guys are the main characters, and the Nazis are like the foils.
Oh, really?
They're like the antagonists.
Oh, okay.
They're like the, bumbling.
Right.
But trying to keep these Americans under
It's not like the Three Stooges with Nazis?
No.
Okay.
The Americans are trying to escape every episode.
Okay.
And, Clink is the heavyset officer, and there's a commandant above him who's always trying to get him, always trying to fire him, and always threatening. Clink might be the superior officer. I can't remember.
It's not like Heil Honey, I'm Home.
No, what's that?
That was some canceled sitcom from the 80s or something.
What?
It was like it ran one episode. It was like a sitcom about Hitler being a sitcom dad.
Yeah.
And apparently it was so hated that they never aired the second episode or something.
I think in the 80s and the 90s a little bit, and obviously in the 70s with Hogan's Heroes, I think people started to take the idea of Nazism a little more lightly. It was faded to the past a little bit. There wasn't as much in the way of neo-Nazis and fresh white supremacy, or there probably was, but it just wasn't
in the mainstream. Yeah, people didn't know about it.
Knowledge as much. So shit like that. Oh man, that sounds bad though.
I mean, that sounds like a fake. Sounds like a fake premise for a fake sitcom in a better show.
Yeah.
Sounds like something from BoJack Horseman or something.
I mean, how far do you want to go in normalizing Nazis and making them funny? It's just...
Well, you can make Hitler funny. You can, well, once again, Jojo Rabbit or
I mean, you
The
know me.
Great Dictator.
It took me a year to watch Jojo
I
Rabbit.
know.
Because I've started to get a little tired of just Nazi stuff in general.
Right.
Not that those stories don't need to be told, but I do have this sense that, like, Hollywood loves... I think the swastika is such an intense and strong symbol that if you could slap that on a poster in some way, that draws people's eyeballs, and I just don't like that.
Yeah,
you know, I really don't like that.
Yeah,
it's, and I feel like, anyway, you know, things have gone a little, and plus, once you see fucking Schindler's List, I know there's 1,000 million, there's an infinite number of stories from World War II and from all wars, and they're worth hearing, but like, Schindler's List is the definitive Nazi tale, and there's almost, you know. Jojo Rabbit did great, and I was blown away when I finally watched it.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend it. To me?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I just moved this pawn.
Okay. I'm going to move Queen's Pawn to D3. Is that right?
I think that's the King's Pawn.
Oh.
And I think
D4.
I think it's on my side because I'm white.
Oh shit! All right, that was my first stab at and throwing it out there.
I could be wrong though.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm trying to, as you all know who've been watching regularly, trying to work on my positions and understand them. I personally really enjoy when they're called like Queen's Pawn. Instead of the number and letters, but I think you actually use a combination of both, like when it's all flowing right. Anyway, we'll get there.
We shall.
Also, I'm trying to make it so that the viewers can see our capture pieces a little more.
Meh.
You know.
Meh.
Also, you can't see my tie. I guess that's a matter of... it's a matter of framing.
Can't see my pants.
I'm shirt cocking right now.
Yep.
No pants. Okay. In case you need a definition of that.
There were, I think, I've seen a bunch of compilations of people like on the news or something on Zoom, and then you can see like at the bottom of the frame they're wearing like a suit and a jacket and a tie, and then you can see at the bottom of the frame they're not wearing any pants.
Check. What?
Check.
I can't remember how the movie ends.
Ends
not that we have to talk about that yet, but
with how does it end? What happens? So what's his name finds out about the thing?
Yeah, he does the math, he does the research, he figures out, he does all the snooping and figures out his Blondie.
Yeah.
Wait, you're in check.
What are you, my employer?
What was it, parole officer?
Yeah. It still works.
What movie is it where they say, "I would not say such things if I were you"? Is it Princess Bride?
Yeah. Wait, no.
I would not say such things. I think it is Princess Bride. I would not say such things if I were you. Says it over.
Yeah.
It's a six-fingered man.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I feel like, I think it is, but...
Or the king.
Is it some... Yeah, the king. Prince Humperdinck.
Yeah, Humperdinck. That's it. Humperdinck! Oh, can I play black next game? Hey, Logic. Hi, Logic. Welcome back. I don't know how we would do that. I guess you could call them out on the chat. I mean, we can't do it today.
Not today. We've been toying with figuring out a call-in system.
Yeah.
But for now...
We do want to play you and appreciate it.
We appreciate
the
offer and the ask.
And the idea of it. And
yeah.
we want to get there.
We want to integrate our loyal fans a little bit more.
And it's fun. It'd be fun to play you guys.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to play you, Logic. But we... I guess it's Logic. But one thing is this week we're just trying to reset back because we've had so many weeks where Indy hasn't been around, etc. And also, we haven't quite figured out how we would technically make that happen. I mean, you could call the moves in the chat is one way we could do it, but not yet. But thank you, and yes, you can play black, but not next game. Oh, Logic, he drives a hard bargain. I wonder if at the end we should try to do it with Logic or something.
The end of what?
After our 3 rounds.
Maybe.
I'd be up for that.
Okay.
All right, Logic. If you make it to the end of this thing, let's try it. Check.
No, it's my queen.
Oh fuck!
You can move it if you want.
Thank you. Check. As good of a move as I thought it was. Oh, he's getting lag. Is it us? I don't think it is us.
It's not lag. There's just a delay because there's a delay.
No, he's saying he's getting a lot of lag. You don't buy it?
Some people use the word lag as a general term.
I see.
I mean, it is lagging behind, technically, so.
Well, I assume Logic knows what he's talking about.
All right. Well, you and Logic can go and
check. Four lane Logic up in the tree.
Out of espresso. So anyway, what?
I was just gonna say, despite what it looks like we have our shit all together here, but it is actually we are like on a thin thread technically, where we get our crap together every week, but
yeah,
we're struggling a little bit to like have it all timed out, figured out. I mean, it looks like we're super pro.
Looks like we've been doing this for years.
Solid. That sad music from Minecraft is in my head. That tragic.
Why is it so sad? I feel like that's not the kind of music the Minecraft base likes.
It's bizarre.
I feel like they like some more Minecraft bass in their soundtrack. Slap it a
Check.
bass. Slap it a Minecraft bass. Alright, your check plan, you're going wild.
Look,
You need to focus up a little better.
How about that?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Something more like that.
I mean, it's not a check plan as much as it is putting you in check over and over again.
Right. I guess that's my point. Okay.
I'll comment on it. Logic, you are our only viewer. You're our biggest fan. And we really appreciate you. And I will commit, Logic, I will commit at this moment to play against you next week. Indy, we're gonna figure out one way or the other how to do it, and I'm gonna practice on my notation, and so I'll know.
Yeah.
So you can feed me the moves, and no, we're not using the clock because we try to be casual on our first 2 rounds.
We do 2 casual rounds. We usually talk about a movie each round, and then we use the clock on the 3rd round.
And on the 3rd round, we bring in the clock for like some stakes and suppression. We focus a little more on the chess.
A little snappy.
These first ones, we're trying to focus on a movie and chess or TV. You know, we're talking about Stalag 17 here. Then we're 3 rounds per time. We talk about a movie. We're going to talk about WandaVision during round 2.
We're pretty casual here. We're not trying to show off our chess skills. We're just having a chat.
Having the chat, talking about movies. I mean, I'm interested in the chess, and I'm interested in the skills. And I want to be known as a high-end chess man.
All right. So what? You're winning? You're going to win this round? Is that what you're telling me?
Perhaps. I mean, you know me. Things can go south fast. Thank you, Logic. Appreciate it, man. Or woman. Or they. What's funny about that?
You said that like...
like Randy from South Park, man?
Yeah.
I'm the worst.
Appreciate it, man. Or woman. Or they. You said that like a dad trying to be woke.
Yep. Welcome to my world. I mean, the thing is it looks like I'm doing really well, but I'm really kind of only up, a queen and a rook right now.
Yeah. And several pawns.
Got a couple extra pawns than you. Thank you, Logic. I am making this way
No.
way more moves than it needs to be.
Game.
Okay. That was fun. So, last couple thoughts about Stalag 17. What did you say the end was?
Well, it just ends with they catch the guy. They all. What's his name?
Yeah,
lays it all out.
Well,
I think what we didn't mention was that the way Peter Graves communicates with the Nazi security officer.
The thing that ties into the chess.
Yeah, is that they have a chessboard. They have a couple of things. They have a couple decks of cards and a couple little things for them to play with in their barracks, and they have a queen, I guess, that they unscrew the top and they put a little note in there, and then the other guy comes and reads it.
Yeah.
And that's how they communicate.
Yeah. Was it the queen?
Might have been the king.
Might have been the king. And they do a little, maybe kind of unnecessary tying of a...
Yeah, there's a light hanging over the table, and they loop it around in like a slip knot to communicate something.
Whoa, bro. You're blowing my mind.
Whoa.
A torus is a...
Sure. An infinite flat loop or whatever.
Yeah. That's cool.
I don't know if my mind can handle that.
That's a little bit to take in. If you're not seeing the chat, our fan, Logic, and friend, has tossed out something that we imagine the opposite edges of the board connected and we're playing chess on a torus. I can almost grasp that. That's cool. Okay, friends.
All right. Oh, you want to put up the graphic?
Yeah.
So, okay. Stalag 17, what about you?
I'm in. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm definitely in.
It was great.
I loved it too.
It was crazy, and as I said, like, just from a filmmaking perspective, mixing the tones, very difficult.
Yeah.
The prison camp and like slapstick and the mystery and all that in one movie.
It had this thing that I
William Wilder's
personally
virtuoso. Yeah.
Personally, I like usually in a movie, but I don't think it fit for this type of movie. Is that it's basically I like a movie sometimes where people are just hanging out and going about their routines, and there's not too much plot. Just characters going about their thing. But to me, and it made it enjoyable to watch, but it still didn't seem appropriate. It didn't seem right, and I don't know what it was like to be in a POW camp, but it just seemed pretty chill. It seemed pretty...
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where it's chill until it isn't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how it is in Empire of the Sun.
Uh-huh.
They're living okay. You know, whatever. It's a prison camp.
Yeah.
I think something that's hard to depict in film is that, like, a lot of times you're, like, starving.
Right.
Or covered in lice and that kind of crap.
See, I didn't get that from this movie, though. You had Animal and Kurt Russell, and they all looked pretty well fed and well groomed, you know. And there was a scene where they were like, no hot water, we have to use the thing from the thing. But it didn't, I wasn't getting the vibe that they were, you know, minute to minute, you know, living dirty and covered in fleas. And they were, you know, all of them, they had slicked hair and stuff.
Yeah,
and
It was movie star style.
Yeah.
Whatever. Interesting. It was an interesting movie. Yeah, the chess of it was interesting, but probably not even necessary. But
no, not necessary. But I mean, all we really need is a scene of somebody doing something with some chess pieces in a movie for it to connect, or for it to be a sequel to a movie where somebody did something.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Next week isn't going to be. What did we say we were going to watch next week?
Empire of the Sun.
Let's say another week because we already picked Fresh, the movie Fresh.
Did we?
For next week, we talked about it a little earlier in the week. We're gonna have maybe Rashidi call in next week.
Oh yeah. Well, we can do both.
2 movies?
Well, we usually do both. Well, I guess
true.
we usually do both when we're doing one and then WandaVision. We're gonna have the WandaVision finale. All right, we'll watch one. Maybe we'll watch Empire of the Sun next week. Yeah.
Yeah. Next week we're watching the movie Fresh. I think it's 1993. And we're gonna have a call in with a great director, Rashidi Natara Harper, whose show Hip Hop Uncovered. You do need to check out on Fox and Hulu. It's really good.
Probably Hulu.
I haven't caught up with this week's episodes, but it's coming back another time. Thank you, Logic.
Yeah, come back next week at the same time, 10 a.m.
Yeah, we really appreciate you.
We do.
And we'll do we'll be ready. We'll be ready to do a guest round next week. Yeah. But thank you. Thank you for being here. And
Stalag 17.
All right, Stalag 17. Put a wrap. Any final words?
A+. Very enjoyable to watch. Maybe too enjoyable to watch.
Right.
It was my final thought, but
Mine thought.
What was that one where one of the guys was like, I'm gonna take Hitler and I'm gonna punch him 8 times, and I'm gonna say, you want one more? And he's gonna say 9. And I'm going to punch him one more time, or something like that.
Yeah. A lot of that kind of stuff, man. But a lot of tropes that I think are in stuff now.
Yeah.
That, like, you know, we've seen so many times, The Great Escape and all that kind of stuff. But, like, you know, and I just think Hogan's Heroes is the biggest corollary.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Hogan's Heroes is like the TV version of Stalag 17. WandaVision.
All right. Put up the graphic, the spoiler graphic.
Check out this transition.
So we're going to be talking about episodes 6, 7, and 8 of WandaVision.
WandaVision.
Episode 8 aired yesterday.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, I guess we should start.
I'm gonna check the stream
in order. All right. So the last time we checked in with WandaVision was the episode where Evan Peters shows up at the very end at the door, and then we're all like, "Whoa!" Longtime viewers will remember that the X-Men movies. No. That's the middle of my intro.
I'm sorry.
All right, never mind. Anyway, you get it. WandaVision.
No, go.
Yeah, that was it. Anyway.
I was just checking the stream.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I missed most of your intro, so go ahead again.
I don't know.
Where did we leave off?
We left off with Evan Peters showing up, X-Men
Oh,
movies,
yeah.
blah, blah.
Yeah. Which is a great tie-in for chess, by the way.
Chessmen. Yeah.
Yes. So, where do we pick up? I can't remember.
Well,
different
I was
episodes
saying
that all of us together.
that we, for long-time viewers, we watched the X-Men movies, blah, whatever. You know, we all know. So that was a fun connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time. So yeah, but bring us in, because I can't remember 3 episodes back on WandaVision. Like,
well, it started with the first one we watched was the Halloween one, the Malcolm in the Middle Halloween one, which I thought was pretty cool because I'm a huge Malcolm in the Middle fan. If anyone, my sitcom knowledge, there's a big gap in like the 70s and 80s and 90s. I know a lot about the 50s and 60s sitcoms, your Dick Van Dykes and your Bewitched and your Brady Bunch and your I Love Lucy and your other things from that era. And then what else? Then what was after that? Like
Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what was the 80s and the 70s? That was like
And 8 is Enough and the Cosby Show.
Cosby Show. I know a little bit, but
those are the big ones.
it was
like,
Married with Children, or what was that?
That was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, 80s and 90s. I don't know. I know a bit of Roseanne. But then then it got to the early 2000s, and they were doing a Malcolm in the Middle style episode, which I didn't know they were going to take it there, but thought it was pretty cool. Yeah.
They took it all the way there.
What they didn't do was they didn't look anything like Malcolm in the Middle. It just looked like a modern show. Like, it looked like just as modern as the Modern Family episode, which was an odd. Because they really kind of committed to the visual style of the other sitcoms. But anyway, Evan Peters is Quicksilver now, but then it's a little vague how real he is, or if he's the same version from the X-Men movies, or if he's... Because he seems to have the memories of the guy from the Avengers movies, but he's clearly the actor from the X-Men movies.
Potentially he's only got Wanda's memories of him from the X-Men movies, if that makes any sense.
So...
And I would say the Avengers movies.
Right. Well, he didn't reference the X-Men movies at all. He never said, like, I remember when Wolverine showed up and made me break into the Pentagon. So I think there is something like, well, it turns out Catherine Hahn's character is a bad witch.
Well, that comes at the end of the Halloween episode?
Yeah.
The next
or
one?
no, is it the next one? I guess it is the next one. Yeah. But
where they do a great sequence.
Yeah, they do a great reveal.
It was what was her name? Character name?
Agnes. It was Agnes all along. It was like a Munsters kind of intro thing where they were, Which I'll say I'm a huge fan of Catherine Hahn. I think she's just never given her due quite. And I loved her in this. I don't know if I love her as much as the evil flying witch. I like her more as a sinister, normal person trying to be normal and being creepy and stuff.
Yeah. We can get to that, though, because that's last night's episode. As far as...
Okay, you're right. The Halloween episode was great.
Yes.
It was Malcolm in the Middle style. It was Halloween. It's got all my favorite stuff. It was a great Halloween episode. Just in general.
Yeah.
So okay,
it was a real turning point in the WandaVision lore too. Like things really started to fall apart in the town, and Vision was like basically striking out on his own.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out his own answers because he doesn't trust Wanda anymore.
Or it's not even that he fully doesn't trust her. It's almost like he just doesn't know what's going on. He can't get any good answers. Something's up. He knows something's up with her.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know where he's at or why, so he just basically wanders
WandaVision
out of town. He comes up with an excuse like, I gotta be on Neighborhood Watch tonight, and then he just goes for a walk.
It seems like his abilities are... it's a little unclear because I assumed he couldn't fly, but then he does fly. He flies up into the town, but then he can't walk outside of the town. Well, I guess it's because there's a physical barrier or whatever, but he flies up to the top and he looks out at the town and he sees people are at the edge of town are being weird. They're not like behaving. They're like
they're either frozen or doing a repeat motion or something, unable to.
Like her magic doesn't reach far enough to keep those people in a state of. It reminded me a lot of a video game where it's like wherever your character is, the NPCs, their AI is going to be showing the guy going over here and chopping the lemons and then talking to this person, and then if you were to go out beyond where your character is, the AI starts getting less and less.
Yeah, if you were to somehow get out of your character, leave your character there, but go look at what's going on over here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he eventually figures out.
Well, he goes to the edge.
Yeah.
He tries to get out.
Oh, right, of course. He tries to walk out, and then he starts dying.
He goes to the edges of barriers.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're watching this far, hopefully you're watching one.
Yeah.
Well, if you're.
I mean, if you don't care about WandaVision, it probably sounds like nonsense.
Yes, he goes to the edge of the barrier, tries to get out, which is really cool. I enjoyed that, and kind of you didn't know if he was going to disintegrate or fall down or come out fully powered or like what was going to happen.
But then there are those stupid sword agents who I'm getting real tired of.
Yeah, we're tired of it. I mean, sword was. Well, I mean, as you said, shield was already a stretch as far as is this a cheesy thing to call something? And then they took it further.
They really did. Further. I mean, I get it, shield and sword, right? But they don't seem to be connected to shield because...
I think they referenced them being connected at some point.
Well, they seem super sinister. They seem like a sinister organization, and I think shield is supposed to be the good guys.
But they're not sinister because, what's her name? The daughter of the friend of Captain America.
Sure.
Is like a good person, and even Chief Idiot was like... Seemed like he was like on the good side at first.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like the organization itself is. Really wasn't expecting that.
I know. Just trying something. So you've also got Kat Dennings. You got Kat Dennings, who you remember from the 40-Year-Old Virgin, but also probably the Thor movies, the bad ones. She's like Natalie Portman's friend, who's also
I barely remember her from those movies.
What is she? Is she a geologist? Is she an astronomer?
Person. I mean, she's hacking the shit out of all these mainframes.
All right, so she's a hacker.
But she shows up with a bunch of gear that's pretty unique at the beginning of WandaVision. Remember, she shows up at the sword camp, or I can't remember how she gets there, but she's unpacking like video gear. She's the one that plugs it all in and says like, "Wait a minute, this is all being broadcast like a sitcom." Like that's all her. And then later, she's in the back room plugging into stuff. I think it's you. Oh, it's me.
Slick. Oh wait, I can't. Wait, I'm Queen. Wait, hold on.
No.
I'm in check somehow.
Oh, you're in check?
Oh, man.
Hold on. Let's take it back a few.
This is humiliating.
No, we're good. We're good. Take it back. Take it back. Okay.
And you took this, yep. And then, all right.
Okay. So then it's your move.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, everyone.
Just a couple of folks.
So we've got some side characters that are they're like the SHIELD agents or the SWORD, or they're not. They're like, what's his name is with the FBI.
Yeah.
And
he's all right.
Randall Park, cool. I like him a lot.
I like him as an actor, but like his character is on the edge of not being awesome, but he's good. He's good. He does what he needs to or whatever.
I also Kat Dennings, I can find her grating a lot of the times, but I'd say I definitely like her more than half of the time on the show.
Yeah, I think she came on a little heavy at the first couple of episodes, and it was like, that's not quite the tone of what's happening in the rest of this show. But they balanced her out a little bit.
They balanced her out. I think she's pretty funny. I loved when she was like turned into that carny for that scene, and Vision was trying to talk to her. She was like an escape artist, and she kept like exiting the conversation in silly ways.
Easy. Slippery. See a double protection on that.
Mm-hmm. Double protection spell?
Yes. Bless you. Oops.
Oh
wow.
My God.
Actually, he's a pretty good friend. Okay. Fascinating.
So then Vision he tries to escape the town, and there's a sword base set up right at the edge, right outside the magical border. And he tries to leave, and he starts disintegrating, and then somehow Wanda can sense that, and so she expands the border, even further,
which was amazing,
to encompass where he is, so he doesn't disintegrate.
That's her solution.
Yeah,
just expand the whole border.
Which is pretty good from the unable to process the grief standpoint, which is just like, that's her solution, is to just make the problem even worse.
Yep. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
It's giving me chills right now. I mean, from the processing grief standpoint, the show is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
It's the bigger stuff. But she expands it, that's what turns everything into a circus.
Yeah.
And
she absorbs Kat Dennings, who's chained to a truck or something. She can't escape the border, so she gets a whole bunch of sword stuff gets turned into a circus.
They all get turned into clowns, etc. It's pretty good.
And then the next episode. Well, doesn't she get mad at Evan Peters at one point for saying something mean?
Something about like, well, Vision's dead, he says in front of the kids or something.
Right.
Something about her dead husband.
Yeah.
And the kids are like, what, Dad's dead? And she gets super pissed.
And then the kids also have
the
same powers as her and her brother.
Right.
One of them's magic and one of them's fast.
I didn't realize she was like magic, like in a way that like Loki's not magic.
Right.
She's more like witch magic.
Yeah.
And I saw a tweet this morning, Ben Blacker, in fact. He said, oh, I get it. Wand. And this was from like 2 weeks ago. So he was like he was pretty much ahead.
Wanda?
I don't know if he has...
Well, I don't think there's a head because it's based on a comic where all the stuff is laid out.
Okay.
I mean, this storyline isn't, but those characters are, obviously.
Okay. I didn't realize it was also witchy. Did you?
I didn't know in the movies it was like magic, like Doctor Strange, because I think in the comics she's a mutant.
Yeah.
Which is not the same thing as magic.
Right.
But in this, I guess she's magic. I mean, like, Doctor Strange is magic.
Doctor Strange is magic?
It's
like
magic. Well, it's like wizardry.
Yeah.
Which is probably different from witchcraft in the Marvel Universe.
Okay.
But they show clearly, like, well, they show a flashback to, like, the 17th century or something where Catherine Hahn's about to get burnt at the stake for being a witch.
Yeah.
Or no, she's about to be punished by her coven for being an evil witch.
Yeah.
And then that scene's kind of confusing because they all start shooting magic at her, but then she's like I have the better magic.
Not a fan of that.
And so their magic kills them or something.
Right.
It reminds me of when the Emperor was shooting lightning at Samuel L. Jackson, and then he was like burning his face, even though he was the one controlling it. And he was like, Anakin, you have to kill Samuel L. Jackson. So
that was confusing.
He stops reflecting the lightning back at my face, and the whole time I'm just like, just stop shooting the lightning. It's kind of like that.
Wait, what was it? What was it kind of like that?
With the witches, with the witch.
Oh yeah.
Burning.
The thing I didn't like about that, and it's the thing that I feel like Marvel does more than anybody else, is that it was just random power.
Yeah.
In the sense of like there was no necessary, not necessarily any reason why, that we could tell, she was more powerful.
Yeah.
By all rights, it looked like, a dozen witches seem to understand what the powers are that they're dealing with.
Well, I guess that scene was to show that that her evil magic was more powerful.
No, yeah.
And I guess the only explanation was that she has evil magic, and that's more powerful.
Okay. I kind of see, I guess, what you're saying. But we skipped it from Halloween to the previous episode.
Yeah. And
I have a quick question, if you can remember, because I'm confused about a point. Like, when Vision was on the edge of town, he talked to Agnes.
Right.
And is that when you realize it was Agnes all along? Is that when that starts?
No, I
Okay.
think it's the next episode.
Oh, it flashes back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I'm cleared up.
Well, she's like having a freak out because like he frees her brain, he frees her mind, but then maybe that was a fake out because then when they show that montage of Agnes all along, it's like she's crying and freaking out in the driver's seat, and then when Vision looks away, she like looks at the camera and winks.
Of course. So Agnes.
Yeah. Very funny.
She's definitely the second best character in this whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I think what you were saying about the magic and the Marvel and the Thing, which is one of the reasons why Wanda was always one of my least favorite characters in the movies, was because I never understood what she can do. She just shoots red CGI at people, but there's no explanation as to what it does or what its limits are.
I mean, as far as MCU, or what do they call it,
Yeah.
the Marvel Cinematic Universe, why not just have Captain Marvel fight Thanos? Or why not just have Thor fight Thanos?
I think they did. They had all that.
I'm saying, do you need these giant rumbles of, like, all the characters going against all the characters?
Well, you need it if you want an Avengers movie.
I'm just saying, you've got a couple super overpowered characters.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange just needs to handle
Right,
this.
you're saying, like, when is Captain Marvel going to get into a fight with Hawkeye? Like, what, like...
You don't need Hawkeye. Obviously, nobody needs Hawkeye.
Yeah, nobody needs Hawkeye. But you don't need Falcon. You don't need any of Captain America's stupid friends.
No.
He's already barely...
Right. If Captain America is also a god, fine. I don't love that.
He's not a god, he's just worthy.
He is a god.
He's worthy.
No, I thought he was a straight up god.
No, he's a
and
guy.
That's why he's able to wield Thor's hammer.
No, he's worthy.
Lots of fucking people are worthy. They can't.
No. The only people who are worthy can lift Thor's hammer.
I thought at some point, a couple times where Thor looks at Captain America, you go and rewatch, and he's like looking at Captain America like, I think those are the moments where it's like, this guy's a fucking god.
I think he almost inches, he moves his hammer a little bit in one of the movies, and then from that point, people theorize that Thor was insecure about it from that point, and that Captain America could lift the hammer and just chose not to because he's so good of a guy that he didn't want to embarrass. It's just because I think the idea is that he's so righteous that the hammer trusts him.
Wow.
That he's worthy because he's just such a good guy.
Okay.
And I think worthy has something to do with like whoever the previous ruler of Asgard can deem you worthy, even if the hammer doesn't.
Is it me?
Yeah. No.
Oh,
it's me.
Damn it.
Sorry.
All right, I'm on the fence about all that.
But
I really thought
because Vision lifts the hammer in one of the movies, and then that's why they end up trusting him. Huh. He's like a crazy robot, but then he lifts the hammer, and they're like, "Oh, you can lift the hammer."
Okay. I definitely need/want to rewatch Age of Ultron.
Yeah, I feel like that I should too.
Because to me that was almost a weird, the whole Vision thing. I mean, the fact that Vision is born of Jarvis.
Yeah, I know.
It's like crazy to me.
Well, I think it's like he's born of Jarvis and the evil Ultron AI, which is like a cancerous AI tumor growing off of Jarvis or something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I feel some of my chess playing right now would be a lot better if it was more like I had planned it. This would be like some good chess, but it's still a little, to be honest, a little random.
Anyway, I thought the Modern Family episode was really well done, where it keeps cutting back to like the interviews of everyone, and it's like Wanda losing her mind. After she just expanded the town, she can't like keep control over it.
Oh, right. Okay, so that's what happened in that other episode.
Yeah.
After the Halloween episode. Right. Meanwhile, Captain Marvel's friend, like, tried to get into the town in this tank. Remember that part?
Yeah, but then she ended up getting in because she ran through it.
Ran in?
That was pretty weak. But
not great.
Well, then she ends up finding the evil basement, and then Evan Peters shows up and he's like, "What are you doing in the evil basement?" And then we didn't get back to that storyline.
Right, that was a great post.
Well, I think that was what we didn't like about the last episode, was that it was such a Wanda episode. There was barely any Vision. There was no Quicksilver or scientist team.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
And it was kind of like a dump of information that we kind of mostly expected.
Well, we keep getting back to this episode, but there's that in-between episode
I know.
that I don't remember that well, that I kind of want to talk about some
more.
Okay,
so Vision is with Kat Dennings at the circus, and then they steal an ice cream truck.
Yeah. Oh, and they're stuck in traffic for the rest
keep
of
getting
the
stuck at every time. It's like they're stuck at a red light, then the light turns green, and then like a bunch of road workers come through and close off the street, and then they're gone, and then a bunch of kids are crossing or something. It's so dumb. It's funny though.
Yeah. It is funny. It works.
Shit, I think you've got me.
I think I do. Unless you pull the classic reverse pawn.
Yes. Damn. All right, you floored me. You creamed me. All right, well, it looks like the month is yours, but we still have one more game to play.
Yes, we do. High intensity, high stakes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, is the month mine?
The month of February, where we played 2 games.
Let's review.
All right, I'm going to take a quick pee break.
We're going to take a quick break.
Pee break.
Here are the scores.
1 minute.
Today, I've won the first 2 rounds, game 1 and game 2, on the February 27th slot. And now we're going to do our power round, our timed round. And I guess keep talking about WandaVision? I don't know what we're going to talk about this time. Let's see here. This thing? Oh, this camera's getting... Alright, we're adjusting some shit. And so shit's getting fucked up. As they say. You know, to be honest, it's a mixed victory when you beat your own son in chess. You know? We've never been much on, even when he was young, and this might be I don't know. This might be bad parenting, but I didn't let him win like very often or anything like that when he was a kid. I usually played pretty straight ahead. I mean, maybe I didn't pound every move or whatever, but he lost a lot when he was a kid, and then as a teenager he started to kind of hold his own. But nonetheless, even though I think on some games, and some of these streams, you can find me gloating a little bit or being like, "Ha-ha! I've got you." That's just it's just the excitement of the moment from a sportsman's perspective. But really, it's pretty mixed when you slap your own kid down.
Got you. You and I could rule this city, Spider-Man. That's what he says sometimes.
Yeah. And I'm usually saying that to Chester, the chess computer.
All right, should we finish up our WandaVision talk?
Yeah, let's talk about it a little more here.
All right. So that episode
get the clock on deck.
Was a great, well done episode with the Office style talking heads and
yes,
and the visual style of it. I thought was very modern sitcom-y.
Yeah.
In a lot of subtle ways with the shaky cam and the little music cues and stuff. But it basically ends, the Vision storyline ends with him trying to get back to the house. And then, so Maria, or Monica, or whatever her name is, Captain Marvel's friend's daughter, she goes back in and she's like, "Wanda, stop doing this." And instead of throwing her through a wall like she did last time, or throwing her all the way out of town, she just says, "Stop talking to me," and leaves her alone. And then she goes and finds the evil basement. And she doesn't know where her kids are because Agnes had her kids. Agnes was watching her kids. And then she goes down to Agnes's basement. And she's like, "Wait, you have an evil basement?"
Yeah.
And then, what if we do a little...
Thing is, I kind of... Okay, fine. It's fine.
What?
I like seeing the top when we're slapping button.
Yeah, right. You can see the top.
All right, you can see the top of the window. Fine.
Dude, if we move it here, we can't see the bottom.
Oh, you're right. No, I like where you had it.
So then, right, and then we get to last night's episode, which was like a full-on exposition dump, basically.
Right, stuff we've already seen,
yeah.
Stuff we've heard. We see a very extended play out of, the premise is Agnes is trying to understand Wanda's superpower, super witchcraft.
So they abandoned the sitcom thing for this episode, or not abandon it, but it reached its conclusion, and they weren't doing that anymore, and it was basically like a trip through Wanda's brain and her memories. Yeah, I liked how it was a Tony Stark missile that
was cool. There were great parts.
It was a good reminder of that Tony Stark was bombing kids before he became Iron Man. I feel like that Disney is somewhat shied away from that, which was kind of the entire point of his character.
I mean, it does show up regularly. I mean, maybe not since Disney took over.
I mean, it was full on like
in Iron Man, obviously.
Yeah,
they've got a great version of that.
Well, yeah, but as it goes further along, they tend to ignore how much of an actual monster he used to be. And it was just like he was a rich asshole, but it was like he was a warmonger.
Right.
Like he was really
right. They bent him more towards a rich inventor now, rather than a guy who was literally driving Humvees out in the desert and like selling weapons to people.
Yeah. Which is the whole point of his character, is that he realizes that was wrong. Mm-hmm. But like the way it's framed now, he wasn't really doing anything that wrong.
Right.
He was just like, he built a thing and
he's lovable Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Give him a burger. Get that man.
That's one of the best. Iron Man is still one of the best Marvel movies. Right after he gets home, he's in the car with Jon Favreau, and he's like, "I want two things. I want an American cheeseburger, and I want you to call a press conference." And then they cut to the next scene, and he's at the press conference getting out of the car, and he's got a bag of Burger King, and he's eating a burger, and Jeff Bridges meets up with him, and he's like, "Oh, you got one of them for me?" And he's like, "Oh, well, there are only two left." It's good. It's so funny.
But anyway, the penultimate episode of this thing. What is it? Episode 8?
Yep.
Or 9?
8. Yeah.
So there's gonna be 9.
It's gonna be 9.
9 is such a strange number. I've heard of 8. I've heard of 10.
I know. But I like it. I like that they decided they need 9 episodes to tell this story because it really feels like episodes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's like, something like I don't know, what else have we been watching?
Episodically together?
Like what there was something I was saying recently doesn't feel at all like episodes. Like the new Star Trek shows. Star Trek used to be episode, almost entirely self-contained.
Right.
And now they don't feel like episodes at all. They feel like they've just made a 10-hour movie and then chopped it at each 1 hour mark, basically. And I'm tired of that. But yeah, episodes, and I feel like it's got its structure. It's so much better than The Mandalorian from a writing perspective.
Oh, I mean, I love The Mandalorian.
We love The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I think I might even like it better than WandaVision.
Yeah.
Overall, but it is so thin as far as like plot and story complexity compared to this. It is so A to B to C.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you're just sitting in B for a really long time before you even get to C. That's just what The Mandalorian is.
That's just what it is.
But WandaVision is a highly complex show.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, and it's really interesting. I have a friend, I guess I shouldn't mention his name, because he specifically said he doesn't want to be on here dissing Disney stuff.
Uh-huh.
But, he's a good writer and a good guy and a good creator and a thoughtful mind. But he's not a fan, He's not a fan of WandaVision. I'm not sure why, because we haven't gotten down to that conversation yet. But I just feel like it's so strong. It's unexpectedly strong.
Yeah.
Went into it thinking, probably not going to like this.
Well, first off, when they announced a TV show about Wanda and the Vision, I was like, come, please, no.
Boring and boring.
Right.
Background and background.
Seriously.
The only person with an Infinity Stone in their head would be like way in the background.
Yes. But yeah, this is awesome. I mean, it's tight. That's the thing.
And also, just the intensity, I'm sure we talked about this before, of what they pulled off in the first 3 episodes. Like, how crazy that was. How unusual, unprecedented. Unnecessary in a way.
I don't know. It's up for debate.
I point to the great performance by the Doctor, though, in those first couple episodes.
He was only in 1 episode.
Randy Oglesby, episode 2 or episode 3?
Episode 3.
Okay.
I feel like if you were binge watching this show, those 3 episodes can work a lot better, but week to week, if you're just like, when's the show that was advertised gonna start?
It was a lot to ask.
It really was.
I mean, I guess it's not a lot to ask people in a fucking quarantine pandemic to sit through three episodes or whatever.
It's a lot to ask. It's a lot to ask from a first act of a story.
I know, the time when you're supposed to just grab people and lay it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was unnecessary as fuck. That could have been 1 episode.
Yeah.
Or the beginnings of some episodes and not all the way through. I do feel like most shows would have done that. Would have maybe made that like a third of the first 3 episodes, but then like also incorporated some stuff that we finally saw in episode 4 and
episode
5.
4 when S.H.I.E.L.D. starts getting involved. I feel like, well, they released the first 2 episodes on the same day. So I feel like that could have been good for the end of the 2nd episode.
Yeah, right.
It was a little, there were teases, there were, it was like, but it was kind of just like, it's a sitcom, it's the Dick Van Dyke Show, and then
they pull back to like,
and then somebody's glitching out, and then it's the Dick Van Dyke Show, and then the episode's over. Right. It's like, what? Okay, I'm not.
Or they pull back and it's like a control room in some evil lair. Or there's a color helicopter toy in the rest of it or whatever, which is...
They explained what all that was decently. It didn't end up being that cool.
It wasn't that consequential.
Yeah.
But I guess for us, things fell apart a little bit in that final episode.
I wouldn't say fell apart. I would say...
Put the one back on since we're still...
I would say... I like that picture. Yeah, I don't... Catherine Hahn was great. As an actual evil villain looking... Evil, shooting lasers.
When she goes super arch in this final episode, the second to last that we watched, It's not as good.
No.
It's way better when she's off to the side being like, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
It was just so unnecessary to take it to that level of like.
She was like flying in evil robes and
yes. And then the journey through the backstory to everything we'd already seen, some of which we already saw.
Well, I guess we didn't see her. That was explaining why the sitcom thing was because she liked sitcoms her whole life.
I like that part.
But also we just basically assumed that was why.
Yeah, and it was really extended. I get that she and her brother were in a bombed out room.
Yeah.
But they took it so far that it started to affect other parts of the canon and stuff like, wait, where's Magneto in this? And
there's no Magneto.
Okay.
I mean, in the comic books, Magneto's her dad, but in the movies, her dad is just some guy.
Fine, but I didn't have a problem with that. I just thought it went on too long and had some unnecessary stuff. But what I didn't like was replaying Wanda going into the SHIELD facility, into the sword facility, and reclaiming Vision's body or whatever.
Oh yeah, well I realized
that was already. We literally have seen.
Yeah, we saw that footage before.
Camera footage that kind of told us enough.
Told us the same.
It was actually cooler.
Yeah.
Than
actually seeing it. Yeah.
And like you were saying, it didn't make sense.
Well, what I realized was that Vision's body was destroyed by Thanos right before he did the snap, and then he snapped everyone away, including Wanda. And then 5 years later, she came back looking for the Vision's body, and they were just getting started disassembling it, even though it had been 5 years.
Right.
Which, yeah.
I guess it's possible.
I mean, it's possible that that's just the way that... I mean, you can... That's not like a... It's not something that makes no sense. It's just a little convenient.
None of it was really that necessary.
Yeah.
And it could have been like, he's on ice in this room all taken apart. They took him apart 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is where he's being stored.
Right.
All you got to do is take out those extras, and which would have made sense anyway, because if evil sword man, that's not that smart and good, was going to show Wanda Vision's body, then he probably would have dismissed the crew for 10 minutes.
Can you stop sawing his head open?
Yes.
Will the grieving widow look at his body?
Yes. Anyway, none of that was necessary, and it took a long time. It was like played out from the time she walked into the lobby, which also played, look, these people are great writers, and it's complicated stuff, and these storylines, and it's all good, but like, some of Wanda's lines got a little cheesy.
Well, yeah, there is that scene where she was like, let me in to see the Vision's body, and then she argued with the security guy.
Yeah.
And then he let her in, and he was like, all right, I have to buzz you in. And then she goes, I got it, and opens the door with magic. And we were thinking, if she had just not said anything and just opened the door and just kept walking, that would have been so badass.
For somebody with Wanda's level of powers, it just seemed like having a discussion with a guard at a desk.
Yeah. Well, in a way, go by protocol first,
Sure. I mean, I guess she's just coming back to life after 5 years away, and she's walking into those offices. Yeah. Right. But I don't think she's going to spend that much time shooting the shit on a back and forth.
Yeah.
Waiting for the call to come back.
Like, let me in. You can't not let her in.
Either you're gonna let me in or I'm going in.
Right.
So like, let me in.
Yeah.
I'm asking you to open the door for me. Otherwise, this is a short conversation. It's a yes or no.
You can open the door, or I can open the door.
I'm not waiting for you to check with your managers and the bosses upstairs, and what the fuck. And then that all wrapped up with some ish dialogue in those moments. It really was one of the weaker parts of the whole series, for me. But I don't know. That's kind of where we left things.
That's where we. Well, then the witch is a full-on evil cackling witch.
Yeah. How did the episode end?
She's got the kids hostage in the middle of the street or something.
As if you even give a fuck about the kids. You don't even know if they're real.
I know.
Whatever. Like, nobody cares. As an audience, you really don't give a shit about the kids.
I'm sure if you're a comic book fan, the little boy grows up to be super speed and magic head, and they go on to fight Galactus or something, but...
Right. I mean, you're saying to yourself, look, Wanda's crazy right now. She's in massive grief. Who knows if she cares about the kids? Who knows if the kids are real? But the only investment you have in the kids is whatever Wanda might have in the kids. But as an audience, I don't think we give a flying fuck about the kids.
I did like the kids a lot more during the Halloween episode. They were a lot less creepy.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting that when they were creepy, but...
I don't know if they were supposed to be so creepy.
They were super creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, they were shining.
You know what I think it might have been? I think it was those same actors that played the kids in the Halloween episode de-aged a little bit. with CGI.
Whoa, that would make sense.
And that is what made their faces look weird.
Right.
That's my speculation.
Interesting. I doubt that.
You do?
I mean, just from a budget perspective and how this shit goes down. Like,
well, I think Catherine Hahn was de-aged in The Witch.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is cheaper.
To cast a couple of younger kids to play the younger kids and these kids to play the kids. As far as kids go...
Marvel loves their CGI faces. Their CGI de-aging.
Yeah.
Looking for any excuse to whip that out.
I guess they probably have some pretty efficient plugins to slap on that.
Basically a Snapchat filter.
Yeah.
Takes 5 seconds.
Yeah. All right, should we play this round?
Yes.
Oh, so next week is the last week of WandaVision.
Yep.
We're gonna check that out. We'll have our spoilers up. We'll be talking about it. Very hard show not to get spoiled on. Probably the hardest I've ever heard of.
Yeah. Well, and it's so heavy on things happening. Like things happen every episode, and that's one of the things I'll really praise the show for. That most shows just don't do. What you really should do is that every episode really pushes the story forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I feel like should be a given for a TV show, but it's pretty uncommon.
Yeah.
Especially with The Mandalorian. Disney Plus's other show.
Fucking shit ain't happening on that show.
All right.
Stuff happened last season. I gotta rewatch season 2 of that.
Sure.
Stuff happened.
Stuff happened.
What's her name showed up, and that was awesome.
Sure, but
I need to see that battle again.
But that didn't really push the story forward.
I don't mean the Mandalorian woman. That was great too.
You're talking about
the
Ahsoka.
Jedi woman.
Yeah, that didn't do anything to the story. She was
right.
She was like, "All right,
that was weird.
Here's the little baby that I'm supposed to give to you," and she was just like, "I'm good. How about you find a different Jedi?"
She must have been on a hella important mission that she couldn't, put.
What was her mission? She was hanging out in the forest.
I think she was on some kind of mission.
She was trying to find Thrawn.
I think she's on a Thrawn.
Dude, I saw this after that episode came out. Here's the thing I can't stand about Star Wars fans in the modern day. Well, there are a lot of things, but
I'm switching over to talking Star Wars.
Anyway, after she said "Where's Thrawn?" there were a bunch of memes that were like, it was something about oh, people who don't watch Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, which is I guess a cartoon where Thrawn appeared.
Sure.
They're like, something like people who don't watch Rebels must be so confused about who's Thrawn. I'm like, you're not. You're confused.
You're confused, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. God, that's so classic internet.
Yeah. There were so many. People are so smug. People are so smug about their cartoon characters showing up in this live action show because it justifies their investment in this cartoon.
Right.
And it's just like, people who don't watch Rebels don't know what the hell's going on. I'm like, I know what's going on. This woman she's a Jedi. Yeah. It's not that complicated.
Right. It's way deeper than that, actually, with Thrawn, and it's deeper than, in a way, obviously, we know, you and I know Thrawn goes back to Heir to the Empire. Heir to the Empire is not canon.
Right.
But they are, they are picking things from those eras and putting them back into canon. I was listening to Paul Scheer and Jason Mantzoukas talking about this. Mantzoukas is deep Star Wars guy. He's read all the Thrawn books, and he has read all the books in between, and he knows. So they were talking about how, canon, not canon is not so firm as they try to make it seem sometimes. And, they'll be like, Thrawn's not canon anymore. Yeah. But then they'll be like, hey, we need some storylines, and to be perfect with this, Thrawn.
Well, they're running out of characters from the movies that people like. Yeah. So they're bringing
Thrawn's a great character. Yeah. He goes way beyond, most military thinkers, which is why the Emperor even hired him in the first place.
Hired an alien, a blue alien.
Yeah. The Emperor is very racist.
Pretty racist,
does not like non-human to be But Thrawn has this thing where Mantzoukas was reminding me of it in that podcast where Thrawn loves to study basically the art of a culture, and the art he's an artist. He keeps a lot of art from all over the galaxy in his chambers, and it's his study of those civilizations' culture
that gives him the leg up,
that edge, and allows him to figure out how to efficiently take over. Anyway, Thrawn's
I don't think you'd know because you haven't seen Rebels.
Yeah. I'm not saying I do know, and I'm not saying I know every
I'm saying
angle
you
of
do.
Thrawn.
I'm saying you do know. I'm saying they don't know. You don't know who Thrawn is. Thrawn. We knew who Thrawn was before Rebels was conceived of and pitched.
Back when Heir to the Empire was probably going to be the next Star Wars movie that happened.
Right.
For the fucking prequels.
I mean, that was not me specifically. I was not reading books before the prequels came out.
I read Heir to the Empire on my trip to LA, on my road trip out here in 1996. Maybe that was my second reading of it, but I had it with me. I still have it.
Yeah.
I still have that copy.
I messed that copy up a little bit in my backpack
Those
at school.
copies need a little.
They're first edition, beautiful.
It is a first edition.
Sequel trilogy, original Star Wars.
But apparently Timothy Zahn is still writing.
Oh yeah. Oh, I heard about that.
Stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of the books are him, and he's incredible. He's got a great understanding of the universe.
Anyway, just a thing I hate about nerd culture.
Yeah.
I hate gatekeeping, but I hate gatekeeping 100 million times more when it's wrong.
It's not even that it's wrong. It's just
the idea that I don't know what Thrawn is because I haven't seen Rebels is wrong on so many levels.
Yeah.
Even if Thrawn was only a character from Rebels, like Ahsoka was only a character from Rebels, and I know who that is, even though I've never seen the show.
Right.
Like she's a big character. People talk about her all the time in Star Wars stuff.
God, all this is making me really want to reread Heir to the Empire and its offshoots. Some good shit in there. Some good Luke shit.
Mm-hmm.
Some crazy Force stuff. Some other new characters that are the kind of characters you want. There's like an evil Han Solo type. Card. Talon Card, I believe.
Right, I remember that, yeah. Right.
And,
it's not like, boring characters.
There's some good characters in that.
Finn.
And then there's like a crazy clone Jedi who you don't know if he's good or bad. And you don't know he's a clone at first, but he's crazy and you don't know why. He's an old dude. I think he's the guy on the cover.
Oh, okay.
And I do this because he's got like
shooting lasers out of his fingers.
Yes. Yeah. But like he's not real. He's a clone of the actual Jedi from centuries ago.
That's cool.
But he's his DNA isn't quite perfect, and so he's a little fucked up, and he doesn't know what he's doing. And anyway, some good shit.
Anyway.
Apparently Samuel Jackson might still be alive.
Yeah, well, I think Samuel L. Jackson himself said that because he wants to be in more movies.
Oh, okay.
But
I saw maybe a Quora thing where they were breaking it down, whether or not he would have died from being thrown out that thing, and definitely he wouldn't have. Apparently, Mace Windu's training was to take down a Sith Lord. He had trained himself specifically in case a Sith Lord shows up, because most of the Jedi were getting soft after several centuries of no Sith, and they were kind of just cops and judges. And like he was like, I am ready. I am training myself to be ready to battle a Sith Lord, and that's why he walked in there kind of cocky as fuck.
See, I feel like Mace Windu is almost an awesome character.
He is,
but then he's let down in a lot of ways.
He lets us down in a lot of ways, or the Star Wars creators of the prequels let us down.
I mean, look, Samuel L. Jackson should be yelling a little more, and like he shouldn't be so. A Samuel L. Jackson action hero should not be that zen and like.
You're right. There are other guys to do that.
Yeah, or either cast someone else like.
No, I think it's right for
Morgan
him to be
Freeman.
A notch more aggro.
Yeah.
If he's literally like a Sith killer.
I mean, it's the core flaw of the prequels is the whole idea of the Jedi is wrong, and I feel like the character that Mace Windu should be just can't work within that weird idea of what the Jedi are in those movies.
Right.
But if he was really like a bit rogue, a bit doing things his own way, a bit like, because he's like the second in command or whatever under Yoda or something. Like those two are always sitting in a room.
In command? I guess so.
They're like in charge of the council.
Yeah.
It's like the council, but then Samuel L. Jackson and Yoda are always sitting in a room talking about something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, if he was like a little more rogue, a little more breaking the rules.
I know, dude.
But in a way that wasn't just like rebellious, but that was more like, I think the rules should be this, and I think you're slightly wrong about.
I never thought of that. But that is what's missing. One of the things that's missing is more dimension to some of these Jedis on the council. They're all basically the same type of character. It's like they're all, and I think George Lucas I think he did want to soften the killerness of the Jedi.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
You can soften it.
Sure.
Because Luke is just killing everyone. He's just killing people.
Yeah.
And I get that he wanted to walk that back a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there are a million suggestions that people have made over the decades to make the prequels better.
Yeah.
There's this great Mr. Plinkett, who you probably know.
Oh yeah, check him out.
I mean, you know.
You might know, you might not know. But
if you haven't seen the Phantom Menace review,
start there.
It's the best thing.
Watch that.
Yeah.
Phantom Menace review. It's 15 years old now.
Yeah.
But it is gold, and it is like the gold standard of.
I kicked off all the YouTube
reviews. Yeah.
video essay reviews. Yeah, but he was saying one of the ways to make the war that's supposedly going on through the entirety of those movies never feels present because most of the movie takes place on Coruscant, which is like the capital of the galaxy, but the effects are never felt on Coruscant. And he was saying over the years, over the course of the movies, show a deterioration of the buildings, less traffic in the sky.
Right!
And show
That's true, it's business as usual on Coruscant.
And then he was saying lower population, the war keeps getting worse, and then maybe, there becomes a mandatory or just commonplace service age where you have to join the military for a certain number of years because the war is getting so bad, and that's taking a bigger and bigger toll on the citizens, the widows and the people back home, and then people are dying, and then that makes the war, the actual battles, feel like they have some kind of stakes because it's humans dying and not just faceless clones and faceless robots. That's
good.
And then it also shows a natural progression of things into the Empire where the mandatory service gets more and more crazy, and then the nationalism and the patriotism, they get indoctrinated, and then it could have been a natural just slide right into the Empire in a more natural and realistic way, the way empires actually form in the real world.
Instead
and not
of
just
one speech where Padme says well, this is how it goes, not with a whimper, but with grand applause.
And then he's sitting there. I love that scene because he's sitting there looking so evil. He's got an evil robe on with the hood, and he's just I have been attacked by the Jedi, and we are going to rid them from the galaxy. And
and his sidekick has giant horns.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we should just take a beat before we fucking elect these two.
Seriously. He looks, his eyes are glowing red. Right. And he's, and they're all immediately ready to turn on the Jedi. Yeah.
Everybody in the Senate's clapping it up.
They're just I guess the Jedi just turned evil. I guess they were just evil this whole time.
For it. I hate trashing the fucking prequels, but you can't start talking about them.
I know.
To trash them. It's a shame. It's a fucking shame. Anyway, let's get off that.
All right.
I'm not even talking about Star Wars here.
How we got talking about the prequels
Marvel.
Again.
Hey, we should wind out this clock. It feels super tight at the end of the day.
Yeah.
All right. So we're in our last round, which is our okay. I guess I don't have a separate.
Our hot round.
It's our hot round where we use the clock and we get crazy, and it's 10 minutes on each side. I'm at two disadvantages. I usually don't do too well with the clock, and I usually don't do well when I'm playing black.
African American.
But here we go. Tell me when you're ready.
I am ready.
Okay, I never start with that. That is just not an opening move at all when I did it. God, that was a fucking waste. I'm so stupid.
Yep.
That's what that opening move was actually about.
Yes.
Actually, there's no justification. One thing we love in this household is that moment in Jurassic Park when Negri...
Wayne Knight.
Thank you. Sam Jackson tie-in.
Whoa! Dude, that is the movie that every time... I must have seen Jurassic Park 20 times in my life, and every time I go, Samuel Jackson's in this?
Right. Smoking a lot of cigarettes.
Yes. Like it's still the 80s.
Yeah. I know. No, I remember in that movie it was almost like throwback.
You're saying?
almost throwbacky that he was smoking so many cigarettes.
Yeah?
Yeah, it didn't even fit in 93 or whatever.
It's just such a not Samuel L. Jackson role, and just, I don't know.
I'm the computer tech.
Yeah.
Sam Jackson. You might remember me from such films as Pulp Fiction.
This would have been...
Pulp Fiction didn't come out yet.
Yeah, but still.
But yeah, the Nedry thing.
Yeah.
Wayne Knight, there's a moment in the movie where he's kind of taken over the whole computer system and locked everybody out. And whenever they try to type in a password, the screen comes up with him on it.
Yeah.
This kind of animation of him going.
It's like a GIF.
And it just keeps playing. Every time you cut back to them and they're so annoyed by it or whatever. At one point, Richard Attenborough says, I really hate that man. Something. In case you can't tell from our still casual stylings, this is the intensity round.
Yes. Check.
Son of a... Oh, now I can't put this in this way. Okay. I'm sure I just disrespected the National Chess Federation by doing that somewhere.
Getting a call later today. Germany.
Dude, I would love to get that call.
Mr. Ford, we see on our records here that your Twitch stream, you violated...
Wait, are they German?
Yeah, they'd be German. Getting that call from Luxembourg that
I've always been waiting for.
Yes.
That I knew be coming.
These timed rounds can become can get a little random sometimes. Check.
Oh, this is fucking bumming me out, dude. I'm getting slapped.
Slapped.
Slapped. Getting slapped. Just going to...
Check.
Dude, you're bumming me out.
Sorry.
Bumming me out. Okay, it's gonna come down to how many.
And that Palpatine voice really scratched up
It was
my
worth
throat.
it.
Yeah. It's always worth it. Love Palpatine. Being easily the best character in all the prequels. He's just cackling. The cackling villain.
Damn it! Time round. Good work.
Thank you. Start thinking of a different plan.
I do. My old plan's over with. There's not much time though for a new plan at this point. Shut up. Is that dog?
Yep. Check.
I keep being out of frame. I'm gonna slide that back next time. Give me a little more room.
Check.
God, you pounded me. Thank you.
Yes.
Maybe a little. Thank you.
Yes.
Your turn. On the clock, as they say to explain.
Anzi Clock, is that the guy who's calling you about the chess violation?
That's a good one. It's causing me actual physical exhaustion.
Check.
This is a tough situation.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the clock, I'd spend more time gnawing, but I gotta move.
Totally. Check. More time gnawing, less time jawing.
Shut it. No more humor at this point in the game. Oh no! I'm fully trapped. I'm fully mother flipping trapped. Okay.
Good game.
Fuck. You creamed me.
I did. You still won the month and the day.
Alright. Well, at least I didn't shut you out all month.
Yeah.
Alright, what do we got here? Alright, let's say goodbye. This was a good round. Oh, you know what? Let's try to hang out for seven or 8 more minutes and make it a 2-hour
Alright, cool.
sesh, because I don't know if that means anything on Twitch, but maybe.
Talk about the Star Wars prequels some more.
Forwardly.
Uh-huh. Indley.
You want to be Indley?
No. I don't know. Oh,
Like that.
he did it.
Okay, that's where we are.
So the big question is, are we going to watch the Captain America show that doesn't have Captain America in it? It's just a spin-off of Captain America. I think here's the thing about Captain America is that at this point, it's not that interesting. It was fun when it started, but now that we're through our Thor Ragnaroks and
Right.
our WandaVisions
Yeah.
and our Guardians of the Galaxies and our Avengers Infinity Wars, do we want to see another gray show about kicking and punching
Yeah.
and a couple car chases
I
and a couple
agree.
shootouts?
When I say yeah, I mean no.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great question. It seems like a strange, not strange, but like just going back to a more basic zone after they've gotten more interesting.
And I
Who knows what
really
it's gonna
don't
be?
care about those two as leads. Like, those two actors aren't, like, I am really in love with both of those two leads in WandaVision. They're
Right.
both so awesome.
The acting is amazing.
And now, Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie aren't bad actors, but they don't have anything.
It's the characters. What are those characters?
It's not the character, because Wanda and
That's true.
Vision were boring characters.
That's true.
For me. And I don't know, if it was just a show about them, shooting people with magic, and then I don't know how you'd make a WandaVision show work that wasn't this, basically. Or at least some form of reality bending thing, not necessarily the sitcom angle, but the Loki show, that looks awesome.
That's a good idea for a show.
Yeah.
That could be crazy.
Got Loki going throughout space and time.
Do you want to try to face Chester together?
Maybe next week.
All right. Old Chester. Talking chess computer. I was really hoping for more from Chester.
Really?
Yes.
What are you expecting him to do?
I wanted the pieces to move across the board a little bit.
Oh, come
on their
on.
own.
How much was this? $30?
No, I don't know. I think it was 80, 100.
Really? Maybe for 300.
I was looking at, like, you know what would be really cool for roasted chestnuts?
What's that?
Like, go on eBay and get, like, one from the 60s with, like, an arm that, like, you know, it costs, like, $3,000 or
Yeah.
something, but, like...
You have to use goose oil to
Yeah.
keep it lubricated.
It's got relays. Whoa. Rook really want to be standing up.
Rook really.
Rook.
Rook.
All right, yeah, free play talk. What else? Firefly Lane.
Firefly Lane.
Watch it.
Just watch it. It's really good. It's really just.
Oh yeah, you finished it since the last time we talked.
I guess so. I started it since the last time we talked.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Watch Firefly Lane. It's awesome.
Definitely not something that would be on my radar. I never would have watched it if I didn't know people who worked on it, but I'm really glad it did fall on my radar because I really loved it.
It's a great story of friendship in a way that, like, I know it sounds cheesy to say that, but, like, it really is nice to see a story about friendship.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially in these times.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I feel so separated from most of my friends.
Right.
And it's wonderful. And, you know, a little hard to watch in that sense.
It's hard. I mean, it's hard to watch. It's not super feel-goody.
No.
It's not like Sunshine and Rainbows.
I mean, it's funny. I was talking to my therapist about this yesterday because my therapist watched it.
Oh,
Did I
yeah?
tell you that?
No.
And, you know, some people find it too intense. Like,
Sure.
literally.
Yeah.
Too intense. Which is funny because Maggie, I think, went into it really trying to design a show that you walked away from feeling a positive feeling inside of you. But it's about life, you know?
Yeah.
It's ups and downs.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this kind of, I don't know, I find the modern, or not, you know, the adult, the 2003 storyline to be kind of, to be depressing in a more realistic sense, you know? It's not like life has passed them by in, like, the way where they didn't, it's like, you know, you got these two flashback eras where they're kids and they're in their 20s.
They're not flashbacks, it's a three-era structure.
Point is, they've kind of, you know, they're bright-eyed and they've got their whole lives ahead of them and they've got these dreams, and then they're in their 50s or whatever, and, you know, I mean, the dreams, they mostly came true, you know?
Yeah,
and
I guess you're right.
But it just wasn't, you know, it's just still, life is just gonna suck for the most part. Right. You know, the dreams come true and the career happens and the family happens, but it's, you know, it's not all it was always cracked up to be, and it's just...
I mean, to get what you want in life, you gotta, you know...
Yeah.
You gotta break some eggs, and it's hard, you know? Or some eggs get broken, whether you're breaking them or not. It's tricky to build the omelet of life.
I mean, I think it's a great angle, though. It's just that the dreams did come true, and it's still... Life is still hard.
Yeah, yeah. We talk a lot in the writer's room of we just fucked that up. No Tomorrow was the show I was working on before this. Same executive producers. On Firefly Lane. About the end of The Graduate. Have you seen The Graduate?
No, but I know the end.
Yeah. Talk about that a lot. That is how life can be sometimes. You get what you think you want or whatever.
Right.
It's a little...
It's not that bad.
No, it's not bad.
It's not as bad as it is at the end of The Graduate. Like, it's not like they're not fulfilled, you know? Like, Tully doesn't hate her girlfriend hour job. She doesn't hate it. I mean, you know, it goes bad towards the end, but, you know, Kate doesn't hate her family. She's not going through a bitter divorce, you know? Her daughter's not the worst person ever. It's not like it didn't happen.
Right.
It just wasn't everything. It wasn't, you know, it didn't...
I guess life encompasses more than what you dream of when you're young. There's more to it. You know, you dream of the thing, but, like, those things all have things.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're making it sound like kind of a bummer. It's not really a bummer.
Kind of, you know, it's ups and downs.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a Wouldn't call it a comedy.
No, there's a lot of humor though.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's definitely very funny.
Great, music and all that kind of thing, and produced in an interesting way, visually and all that. Anyway, really good show. I work on it. Trying to incorporate a little chess into season 2. In fact, I haven't pitched it to the writers' room yet, but I have a few thoughts that I think might be able to work.
Chess Hour. It could be Tully's new show.
Season 2. Yeah, well, I can't say anything.
All right.
But,
not on. That's definitely not on Twitch.
Start throwing stuff down like randomly. Anyway, there's one more thing I was going to say as we're talking about stuff related to our thing. Anything else about roasted chestnuts? Oh yeah, one thing is find us on right now we have a Roasted Chestnut Facebook page. You can find it there. Make sure you're spelling out chestnuts like it's spelled on the screen.
Chessnuts.
Chestnuts. We're on YouTube.
We have a YouTube channel. It's just the streams basically.
Yeah, the streams are all there. Maybe the first ones didn't make it.
Yeah.
But go to Roasted Chestnuts, ChessNuts, on YouTube and Facebook. And, I should get an Instagram going or stuff like that, but that's more, a lot of that stuff, the thing about the YouTube is, the Facebook is an advertisement for the YouTube.
Yeah.
The Instagram would be an advertisement for the YouTube.
Yeah.
And the stream, and the Twitch. But, the YouTube and the Twitch itself are the actual
the product
content. So I try to make sure those are up to date.
Yeah.
And as of now, I've been keeping the Facebook up to date. Next week, we're watching Fresh, the movie Fresh. We're going to have Rashidi Natara Harper call in to talk with us about it. And he's a great guy, old friend, and director of Hip Hop Uncovered, which I'm about to catch up on.
Oh, and we'll be talking about the last episode of WandaVision, so make sure you're caught up on that.
The movie Fresh.
Star Wars prequels.
Yeah, always. Always comes back to that. And maybe we'll fight Chester. Or, no, next week we're going to try to play against Logic. Logic, special shout out goes to you. Thanks for checking in with us today and being here. And everybody else, lots of love. See you next time.
Chestnuts,
we need a...
Chess yourself before you...
Stress yourself.
Yes. Get the
pawns out early and protect your
Don't
nuts.
be afraid to sacrifice the queen.
Yes. Yeah.
Control the center.
Control the center. That didn't end the way I wanted it to, but there we go. Okay, everything.